We've got Nate Bukaty. We've got Jake Gutierrez. We got Deebs, who carried a giant hit stick in for me today, given to me by Ricky Williams, my man Ricky. We never talked about that, Jake. My event with Ricky Williams on Friday. The Heisman. That was awesome. Out of From the Earth.
Saw all the social media interactions.
Did you?
Yeah, looked great.
Thank you. Ricky Williams, an unbelievably nice gentleman and a gentleman. Do you like what he gifted me?
Nice jacket.
Yeah.
A ball, autographed, football.
Give me a football. Give me a Letterman jacket.
It's very nice.
Me and Ricky hit it off.
I believe it.
He was a good dude. Very nice. Did you see in the little social media interaction that I asked him about sugar?
Sweet.
He's still waging his battle against sugar, and he laughed. He liked that. He laughed out loud about that. So, got that going for me.
Sweets?
Yeah.
Sugar is more addictive than marijuana.
Very, very nice man, and he interacted with many of our listeners and talked with them and listened to their stories and signed things. That was very enjoyable. We had a great group of Sports Radio 810 and New Day listeners that showed up for that event. A lot of people asking about Jake. Thought he'd be there for Ricky Williams, but I said Jake's got other business that he's standing on. So just say hello to Ricky Williams, please. Joe Valerio is going to be in studio with us today. Can you believe that? Joe, has he ever been in studio with us? No. He's been on the show with us for a while, but former Chiefs offensive lineman Joe Valerio is going to stop by. He'll be on the show just after we talk to Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold about their season-opening win against Fresno State on Saturday. And they're getting ready to play Wagner this weekend before it's time to prepare for the showdown in Columbia against Missouri the following week. But we can't get ahead of ourselves because Mizzou plays on Thursday and Kansas plays on Friday. Then we could talk about it. But Lance Leipold, Joe Valerio in studio, Jeff Chadilla from NFL Network and NFL.com in studio. Former Chiefs wide receiver Mark Bo-Richter is going to call in. And then we'll talk to Annie Rogers, who covers the Royals for MLB.com. So that is a packed show. And we'll save that Royals talk, thankfully, until 9:30. I like talking to Annie, but I'm not going to like talking to her about that game last night. What a dog that was. That was terrible. And I get it. This ain't football. You can't just physically dominate the lesser team every time out. It's hard enough to do that in football. But this is baseball. Baseball's a funny game. But the White Sox are a god-awful baseball team. Even after that win last night, they're 48-83. They're not good. And the Royals need to beat them. The Royals must beat them. And that's why, especially, again, when we talk about baseball, I get it. It makes a difference, but I don't read too much into who they're playing. Because all you have to have is a bad start from one guy or the opposing pitcher's on that night, and that changes everything. Last night, Noah Cameron wasn't Noah Cameron. Right off the bat, no pun intended, 3 runs in the first inning. He hung in there. He ate up some innings, but gave up 6 runs in 5 innings, and he's been so good all year long. It is a surprise when he doesn't pitch well, especially against a team like the White Sox. And then on the other hand, as I mentioned, it just takes somebody to be on, a pitcher, one guy, to have a great performance, and that's what Shane Smith did. And as you heard in the intro, he hadn't won a game since early June. But he went out there, and you would think he was a Cy Young candidate the way he looked against the Royals. 7 innings pitched, 1 hit. 1 measly hit. 1 walk, 2 base runners. And that's it. Gilbert comes in, he gives up 1 hit. So the Royals against the White Sox, only able to muster 2 hits and 1 walk last night. And that was just terrible performance. Awful. And if someone sent me a message, we need to investigate how long that fantasy football draft lasted the night before. How deep did they get into things? I mean, did the entire team just get hammered at the fantasy football draft? Were they dragging ass into the next day? How many rounds did this thing go? How late until the eve did this last? Vinny Pasquantino said they had to hurry up and get to Chicago for their draft. You know, drafts aren't quick. How many teams are we talking about here? How many rounds? How late were they up?
Auction? That takes a little longer usually, doesn't it?
He said draft. I can only go by what right? He said draft, right?
Yeah, he did. He said he was announcing the picks, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yep. It's a draft.
That's still not quick. You know? And you got it. There's a lot of time, idle time for refreshments. I don't know. That looked like a team that was up late with a fantasy football draft.
The old classic draft hangover game.
7-0. Noah Cameron wasn't very good, and the Royals didn't matter. The Royals' offense wasn't interested in scoring last night. So Noah Cameron could have given up 1 or 2 runs, and that wouldn't have been good enough to win. And it's just, you know, the season marches on. And now you're at math. 132 games. Only 30 left. And what's that do? I mean, every loss like this is so damaging. And they just don't have any margin for error. They got to win these games against lesser competition like this. They're 4 games out now behind Seattle. They sit at 67 and 65. And so they've dropped a game and a half over the past couple of days. So there you go. And everybody looks like they're turning things around. Seattle's won 2 in a row. The Yankees have won 2 in a row. Red Sox are coming off a win. And so Royals lost ground last night. Not a good night for the Royals. Not a good night at all. So they got to bounce back. And now, like, overall, too, they've lost 3 out of 4. And I get it. Losing to Detroit is different than losing to Chicago, but that's why you got to take advantage of beating the White Sox, because the Tigers, they're better. They're better than the Royals. They're better than most teams in the American League. But now, just overall, that's it. They've lost 3 out of 4 at the worst time possible right now when they're trying to make up ground. And they just don't have any margin for error, no room for error, and it's not trending in the right direction right now. But 4 games out, it's not impossible. They're still alive, but they need Michael Lorenzen to shut down the White Sox. The offense needs to wake up, and they need to perform tonight. 6:40 p.m., Rate Field, Chicago. Lorenzen versus Perez. Royals got to have a win. Before we talk to Lance Leipold, Nate, did you watch any of the game on Saturday?
Yeah, sure did.
What did you think?
Very impressed. Man, great game. The first drive of the game for Fresno State, I was a little worried about the defense. But after that, they were lights out. Very impressed with the defensive front 7 for KU. They've got size, athleticism, and depth along the defensive line. The linebacker transfers that played really well. And I heard some people tell me when I went up to Lawrence the week before the game that they felt like there was kind of a rejuvenated Jalen Daniels, like a refocused Jalen Daniels going into this last year. and I thought he looked incredible. It's first game. It's there'll be a step up in competition here in a couple weeks and all that, but I was expecting it to be kind of a tough game, a close game, first game of the year where you got some kinks to work out and all that. And man, I was really happy to be very wrong about that because I thought they just played great. So it was a fun game to watch.
We'll talk to Lance Leipold about that after his team beats Fresno State 31-7 to open up the season. And now coming up Friday, Game 2 against Wagner. Where's Wagner?
I was listening yesterday, so I heard.
It's no fun. Thanks for admitting it. Jake, do you remember?
Yeah. Staten Island,
Home of
baby.
the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, Wu-Tang. It's the first thing that came to mind.
Do you know what their mascot is or their nickname?
I don't.
The Seahawks.
Yeah.
The Wagner Seahawks were 4-8 last year in FCS, so
Yeah.
I'm going up to the game. Excited about that.
6:30 p.m. on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Get a chance to see a game in the new booth or the new half booth, whatever. It looked great on TV, I thought.
Is that what they call the new half booth?
I don't know.
I don't think that's what they're going
just
with.
the
I haven't
booth.
heard anyone say that.
The renovated.
The renovated booth.
You going up there, Jake?
I'm not. Not at least yet. Who knows?
Did you see? You left the door open, didn't you?
Absolutely.
You always got to leave the door open,
A
buddy.
pair of tickets
Yeah.
lands on my lap. I'm not going to say no.
Did you have fun out at Arrowhead up there? Up there in the clouds?
It was fine. It was fine.
Oh, whoa.
What was wrong?
What was wrong?
Whoa.
What was wrong is that game lasted about 20 minutes longer than it should have.
Hey, you got to use those timeouts. You know, the timeouts don't transfer
You were
from
mad-
the preseason to the post to the
Oh, I
regular.
was
You were
pissed.
mad?
He's calling timeouts. I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Trying to build a winning culture?
That's
Right.
fine. Also, I don't. It's a good way to get a guy hurt.
But you enjoyed your time at Arrowhead.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a blessing to be able to serve in that role.
Oh, no question.
Did you eat anything?
Did I eat anything?
Like any of the media? I mean, I know you
Yeah, at halftime they had some burnt ends.
don't. At halftime?
Yeah.
Wow.
Normally halftime's chicken fingers and
They
hot
had
dogs.
chicken fingers, they had hot dogs, and they had a platter of burnt ends.
What did they have before?
I had broccoli before. They had broccoli and these chicken wings, and I didn't have any of that. I just had a plate of broccoli.
That's good. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Seasoned well.
It's a little grilled broccoli.
They usually have a nice vegetable option.
Yeah, it was good.
You know, you do a nice job out there.
They do have a new candy dispenser.
What kind of candy?
They had Swedish fish.
Ooh,
They had
I like the Swedish fish.
Sour Patch Kids. They
Okay,
had
that would be my problem.
peanut M&Ms.
That would be my
Love
problem.
peanut
They
M&Ms.
had these weird like Reese's Pieces that were like cylinders. I never. I'm not a big candy guy, so I don't.
Neither am I, but my daughter's like nerd clusters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they had like 5 dispensers of 5 different kinds of candy, and I saw a lady. She was refilling it. I said, "Having to do this often?" She said, "Yeah, this is the 5th time I'm refilled
Yeah.
it."
Yeah.
Bunch of media fatties hammering the candy.
The Sour Patch Kids would be a problem for me. I love sour candy. I try to stay away from it.
Yeah, I stayed away.
Although I snuck some sour balls into the Jeff Buckley documentary for Richie. That's his favorite.
Sour balls are good.
His
man.
his grandma used to get him those. My grandma used to get those for me, and then his grandma used to get those for him. So every now and again, if I see him at the store or whatever, you buy them by the pound or whatever.
Yeah.
And with the scoops.
We
I'll
used
get him
to
some sour. Like, hey,
Get them from the Hallmark store, Country Mouse,
Yeah.
off 95th and Antioch. They
Yeah.
used to have like these drawers of candy.
yeah.
And sour balls would
Yeah.
That
always
was
be.
something my grandma always had for me.
Gummy
Just
bears
the red
and
ones,
sour
but
balls.
the mix. I like the mix. So I guess I know you're very excited about this documentary. So I got your bag of sour balls here.
Good man.
Just pulled them out of my little bag, my little man bag. You know, had some Twizzler pieces for Sue. I bring candy.
Hey,
I'm like a grandmother.
You're the candy man.
I'm a grandmother.
Candy man.
I
can.
usually
Steven's a
have
candy
a
man.
handful of hard candy in my purse.
Yeah,
I really
candy
do.
man can.
I really do. You know, some mints, Tic Tacs, whatever you need. You know, you gotta.
Do you keep tissues in there?
No.
that would be.
I don't have that. I've got hand sanitizer, though.
Okay, there you go. All right.
I've always who needs hand sanitizer?
Yeah.
Come on. Keep it clean. Keep it right.
That's right.
You know, I do my best. We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Lance Leipold, Joe Valerio, Jeff Chadilla, Mark Borichter, Annie Rogers. All coming up between now and 10 o'clock right here on New Day with SSJ. So you're going up on Friday to the game?
Yeah. One of my best friends from school, from KU, who lives up in Omaha. His son is going to attend KU next year, so they're going to come down. We go check out campus a little bit and take in some Friday night football. Very excited about it. Very excited. Got a chance to have a sneak peek of the stadium last week, and that got me even more excited. And then watching the game on TV this past weekend. So, yeah, I'll be headed up there.
Let's talk to Kansas head coach Lance Leipold, who joins us every week during football season. Coach, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. Good morning to you, and hope you're doing well.
Thank you very much for the time, as always. And let's just get your initial thoughts about the 31-7 victory over Fresno State. You've had a couple of days now to think about how your team played. What were your main takeaways from that opening season win?
I think when you look at an opener and what you're hoping to get out of it, you come out with a victory with a decent margin of victory, but yet you come off the field after watching it and know that you have a lot of things that you got to improve on and clean up as you move forward into game two. Very pleased with how we came out of the gate offensively with the first drive, and I think we drove about 85 yards almost for a touchdown. Defensively, not quite the same. Got off to a slower start, missed a couple tackles, but our defense absolutely turned it around from there and really played good football from that point on. I thought we were physical. I thought we played with great effort, and excited to get on to the second game.
Cam Pickett had 6 catches for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tell me more about his performance and what he brings to the program.
Cam Pickett's a junior transfer from Ball State University in the MAC, and we thought when we recruited him that he could be a guy that could play in the slot for us, replacing Luke Grimm. He's can do a lot of different things. He's also a guy that can help us in the return game down the road, but he's an explosive player, physical player with good speed, can make plays over the middle of the field as well. And we got the ball to him a couple times and got around the corner and scored a touchdown, and he had a big game for us. And Jalen played extremely well, 18 for 20, and 10 different guys caught passes. So it was good for us to distribute the ball in a lot of different ways, and again, a lot to build on heading into week 2.
To build on what you just said about Jalen Daniels, Coach, congratulations to him for being named Big 12 Player of the Week along with the KU offensive line. I'm curious. He's been in the program for quite a long time now, Jalen, and he's had his extreme highs. He's also had some injuries, things like that. What is he different in any way now that this is that last year that he's had all this experience? Is there anything you notice about his approach or anything that's different now compared to the past?
Well, I think he's just taken, I'd say the veteran approach to things that, he's understand it. He's been through a lot. I thought his off season, the summer conditioning and strength program did a great job with him. His body's in great shape. But every day, I don't know if I've said it with you all, is I get a list of guys who are the first 5 and the last 5 guys in the building each day. And Jalen's been, if not the first, in the first 2 or 3 every time as early as 5 a.m., getting treatment, getting ready, watching film, studying the game, and he's really approaching it like a pro, and I think that's paid off for him here in week 1.
And Nate mentioned the offensive line being recognized. How do you evaluate the play of your offensive line in week 0?
Yeah, I thought they played well. Probably had too many penalties up front. I think they would agree. So there's some things to clean up with hand placement and moving our feet on contact. But I thought we protected Jalen extremely well, opened up some holes in the run game, and again something that we're going to need all year. We're able to play. We rotated, right tackle and left guard a little bit, and got some other guys in later in the game, which is great because we're going to need some depth as we go through things.
So, Coach, you mentioned the slow start on defense, but then getting things rolling. And I don't know, I felt like, as you said, there were a couple missed tackles. I still saw like the defensive line getting into the backfield even on that first drive, and you guys were very close to a couple of plays that maybe would have stopped that drive. But after that, man, I was impressed with the defense. Did anything change after that first drive, or was that, I guess I'm just kind of curious, what do you think was such a key to the way your defense played so well the rest of the game?
Well, we feel that, Nate, that our defensive line is one of our more experienced areas, could be one of the strengths of our team. And you're right. I think we came out the ball. We're the more physical team, I think, in the trenches, so to speak, and we're very disruptive from the opening drive. Like I said, sometimes, we have about 3 scrimmages and maybe added 2 other parts of practices of some live tackling. You really cut back on your live tackling about 12 days out from a game, and sometimes you get a little concerned about how you're going to come out of the gate, and fundamentally, bringing people to the ground. And we had some opportunities, and we missed. Warner, their quarterback, made an outstanding play, scrambling and getting rid of the ball to the running back, who had a huge gain after a couple missed tackles. So we settled down. That's all we need to do: get them settled in, get this first drive, underneath us. And like you said, I thought our defensive line, all the guys we rotated, played well. Keenan Caldwell, as one of the rotational defensive tackles, he's a 6-year senior as well, probably played his best football as a Jayhawk and was very disruptive.
And, of course, the excitement for the team to be back on campus. I rave reviews from everyone that attended the game. How did that feel? That it must have been an electric atmosphere to be back in Lawrence for your home opener.
It was. Can't thank our fans enough for showing up and really the excitement that was created in the stadium. I think everyone came away, as what we've been talking about, very impressed with the renovation and the new stadium and everything that it has and what's been added to the game day environment. But you got to have people there, Stephen, to make it what it is. And and they showed up. Our students were great. Probably the earliest I'd ever seen students in the student section during warm-ups, and those areas were filled, and we're going to need that as we continue on down the road here, but it was pretty special.
Just wait for the electricity to go up a notch when Nate's at the game on Friday. That's a lot for you to handle right there, so good luck.
It is. That tour and free food must have did it last week. Right?
He ain't paying for these tickets, Coach. Trust me. He called Gurley or somebody.
I had my hand out. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
no doubt about that.
Somebody asked me, like, hey, you guys in the media, you show up for free food. Did they teach you that in college? When did you learn that? I'm like, we're just born with that.
You don't have to
innately.
teach me anything. I just know. It's a sixth sense. Coach, something I thought was really cool, being a lifelong fan of the Kansas City Royals, Jermaine Dye was one hell of a player for this team, and I loved seeing him post about his sons. I'm so blessed to be able to watch my sons live out their dream of playing college football together at KU. And one of his sons gets intercepts Kurt Warner's son. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? There's some big names being thrown around, and so that's got to be cool. And tell me about the Dye brothers and just having a guy like Jermaine Dye, talking about your program and sending his kids there. That's awesome.
Well, Devin Dye had the interception. His brother Jalen Dye, both have been safeties in our program now for a couple years. Both battled through some injuries last season. They're the rotational safeties and great special teams contributors. They're outstanding young men, which probably wouldn't be surprising to probably Royals fans because even from the first time we recruited Jalen first, and Jermaine came on to visit and things, but what a humble man, as successful as a professional athlete and everything that he's done. He's very humble, proud of his sons. He's not overly involved, but very supportive, and he should be proud. And I think they have a daughter who's a rower at the on the rowing team at the University of Tennessee, and what a quality family and people, and just my interactions with Jermaine, I could see why he was a fan favorite, not just because he was an outstanding player.
You just used the word rotational a couple different times talking about your defense when you were talking about that defensive line and the depth, and then with these guys at safety. And I'm curious how significant or important that depth you think that depth will be as you get through the course of the season.
Well, it's critical, and and that's going to probably be a new factor in college football, is when you're dealing with really with rev share and really there's not a so-called cap completely in this thing, but you only have so many resources, and how do you spread it out, and how do you have the players on the field that have experience that can help you take out of the equation. It's a long season. It's a physical game, and you've got to be able to keep guys as fresh as you can, and develop guys that can come into the game with little drop off and give you a chance to play winning football. So we feel we have that across the board in many positions, and we're going to continue to develop that as we go through this non-conference part of the season as we head into Big 12 play.
Hey, Coach, one last thing I wanted to ask you. We talk about the new stadium and the facilities, and it's great for the fans, which is important. But I also, when I took the tour, I got a chance to take a little peek into that new walkthrough room that you guys have that's like connected between the stadium and the football complex where you guys practice and all that. And it's like, Stephen, this thing is amazing. I don't know how wide this video screen is that you guys have access to, but I'm curious, like what can you describe what that allows you to do as you get ready for games and how nice that is? Because I thought that was a pretty cool area of the facility.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe sometimes because it's not virtual reality. It's a video screen that really we've been able to essentially convert film into almost like a video game type setting, and you can get different angles, and then really what you can do is remove one side of the ball off the film, and you can have your players stand in this room and actually walk through their assignments, because you can simulate the same plays that have been run in a game or in practice, and a guy would have to be able to step through what he has to do. You can do different things with blitzes or coverages or identification of players and highlight them like you could see on a telestrator or something on television. So as we know, people learn differently than they did when I played and things like that. They also wear face masks now too. So, but guys learn differently. You just can't put up, PowerPoint presentations or slides on an overhead or something like that. They learn differently, and many times it's through walking through and going through it. And this is really a big classroom for us, and the majority of our positions use it quite frequently. It's a great way to get a player who's injured some work. It's a great way to get younger players caught up on things and teaching understanding, and it's been a great addition to our program.
All right, Friday night, 5 p.m. pregame, 6:30 kickoff right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas. We'll host Wagner, and then, of course, postgame following the game. Everybody will be wearing face masks, so very excited about that. That's a good thing for both teams. And, Coach, I offer it all the time. You talk about, maybe a PowerPoint presentation. Nate's your guy. He'll be in town, so if you need someone to address a team, he's always willing.
That or draw up a play, Nate, on a 3x5 card and hand it to me or something. We'll see if we can get it worked in or something.
Right. Now that would involve soccer, and so I don't know how you would utilize that. But good luck with that, Coach. I don't know how.
This is called a corner kick, kids.
Absolutely, Coach. Congrats on the season opening win, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
Great to be with you guys. Have a great week. Rock Chalk.
That's Coach Lance Leipold. So there you go. You'll be there on Friday, and if you're not there with Nate on Friday, again, pregame starts at 5 p.m., kickoff at 6:30, followed by postgame, Kansas against Wagner. All right?
Great start to the season.
Get ready for it.
Team looks good. And it's man, you just don't know when like the majority of your lineup is transfers, which I think it is for a lot of teams
Nobody
nowadays.
knows nothing right now.
You just don't know anything.
Jake thinks he knows everything. He knows nothing right now about college football, but he knows enough where he nailed both of his picks
Yeah,
this
he
past weekend. And so you made some money if you listened to him. If you didn't, I can't help you.
I know that Vegas doesn't know yet.
Right. This is where he gets Vegas, first 3
That's right.
weeks. Everybody
First
knows
3 weeks,
that.
college football.
He's told people that repeatedly. If you didn't listen,
Get
that's
'em.
your fault. We'll take a break back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's Tuesday, August 26, 2025. We've got, well, you know it's a special visit when Nate Bukaty's here because Nate's not here that often, but he made sure he was going to be here because we had Joe Valerio in studio. This is the first time you've been in studio with us of all the times you've been on the show with us.
Steven, this sure beats you guys on a cell phone speaker being here with you guys. This
Does
is
it? You have to look
absolutely
at
awesome.
us. Is that okay?
Well, that's what my dad said. You know, when I got the job at Channel 9, you know, backing up Lenny D, my dad's like, son, you got a face for radio. I don't know what the heck you're doing in front of a camera. You're gonna put that camera out of focus with that schnoz of yours. So, because I can eat a hoagie in the rain. That's
Right.
you know.
Nothing wrong with that. Because it rains a lot around here. And so you're in town for work?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the company I work with, we have a bunch of offices throughout Kansas, South Central Kansas, up in the Corn Belt, Wheat Belt, Rust Belt. We're all over the place in the Midwest. So here for work, spending some time with the great people of Kansas City, which is always a treat to be here and spend some time.
And you usually come back for some games, don't you?
Yeah. We come back always for the alumni game. You know, always for the Legends game. That's always a blast, catching up with guys and seeing how everybody's doing. And I remember first time I brought my daughters to the alumni game. We brought my triplet daughters in tow. Right, Mr. Hunt sees me. He's oh Joe, Philly Joe. You know, he called me the big man from Philly. He's like, I gotta meet these triplet daughters. He goes, thank God they look like Jennifer. I was like, yeah, you got that right, Mr. Hunt. And I had to hand him. So I made this photocopy of a check that I got for a preseason game when we played, which were then the Redskins, now the Commanders, down in Washington, D.C. And, you know, a lot of people know Matt Blunden and I were high school teammates, so we had busloads of folks going down to see that game because the Chiefs didn't really get East much back then, you know. And so everybody thinks you get tickets. We don't get tickets. We used to get 2 home game tickets for free, and then away games, you got nothing. You had to pay for these tickets. So I'm going through the lunch line on Tuesday after the Washington game, preseason game, and Herman Sir, our security guy, who ultimately started working for Joe Montana, he hands us our camp checks, right? Because nobody's under contract at this point. You're just getting a camp per diem check, and I get this check. It was literally for 10 cents. 10 cents, 0.1 on the check, signed by Carl Peterson himself. And I got this check, this beautiful color check. You know, it was big, big Chiefs logo on it, and it was all in color printing. And I kept it. So
you still have it?
I still have it. So I made a color photocopy for Mr. Hunt, and I brought it to that alumni game. And I said, Mr. Hunt, I got to talk to you real quick. He goes, oh, what's up, Joe? Come over here. Say hi to Norma. Talking to Norma. He's meeting my daughters, saying hi to Jennifer, my wife. And he's like, I said, Mr. Hunt, I have a present for you. I said, I want to give you this check. He goes, Joe, why did you save this check? He goes, Norma, come here. He goes, Norma, it's been Joe that's been screwing up our checkbook all these years. He's like, Norma reconciles the checkbook. And he says, why, Joe? Why did you keep that check? And I said, well, Mr. Hunt, I said, look, there's 3 8-year-old girls right there, right? And someday they're going to turn 16, and they're going to want a car for their 16th birthday. They've seen MTV, My Sweet 16 Birthday. I said, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull that check out and say, well, guys, I didn't really make that much money when I played for the Chiefs. This is what they paid me. So he said, that is a great technique. I think I'm going to use that. And I was like, well, Mr. Hunt, I don't think you need to use that technique. Yeah. But it was, it is great to be back. And the alumni game is always a blast.
Triplets, huh?
Yeah, 3 girls. They're doing great. And, got their start here in KC, and they're off doing their thing. I have a daughter. My daughter Taylor is a resident physician, she's a pediatrician at a children's hospital at DuPont Children's Hospital, or Nemours, technically known as, in Philly. My daughter Madison is a NICU nurse educator. She was a NICU nurse that turned teacher, so she teaches NICU nurses at a hospital in Delaware. And my daughter Haley is getting married in a month, and she is a lawyer. She's an attorney. Does ESOP law. So thank God they have my wife's brains, and they look like her too.
That gives me hope. I have 16-year-old twin girls, and so it's
#GirlDad.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. It's a wild roller coaster.
Yeah,
of fun. But see, there you go. You got through it.
Yeah,
we did.
You come out the other side.
Yeah.
we went right to zone defense. There was no man-to-man.
Exactly right.
It was right to
right
zone.
out of the gate.
Yeah.
And I guess I knew you had a connection with Matt Blunden, but I didn't realize, you were telling us in the commercial break, you were best friends with him since 6 years old.
6 years old, first grade, yeah.
And then you guys end up not only both making it to the NFL, but getting drafted a year apart by the same team.
Same team.
How
Crazy.
wild was that?
It was incredible. That whole off season, I would get these, finger points. Come in here, Joe. Come in here. I'd go into the war rooms and tell us about this Blunden guy. It's like, well, I don't know what you want me to tell you about a guy who's, I've known him since we were 6. I said he's a Jefferson Scholar at the University of Virginia. He lives on that Jefferson Square there, which they only give to a certain number of scholars, not just scholar athletes. And I said, he's 6'7", he's 240, runs like a deer. He was a starter on a basketball team that went to the Elite Eight. He hasn't thrown an interception in his senior year. I said, I don't know what more a lineman here can tell you about a guy like that, but he's awesome. Like, he is a class act, and he's just one of those character guys that you want to have around. I mean, it was an amazing story about how he, because we were walking home in this is great being here in studio because I got lots of time to tell stories.
Right. See, there we go.
Stories.
So
Matt and I are walking home in senior year during basketball playoffs, and we're walking home from after practice, and he's got literally a press conference at our high school with ESPN's coming. He was the Street and Smith's #1 rated high school football player at the time. There's no internet back then, right?
Man, I love Street and Smith magazine back
Street
in the day.
and Smith, my God, it was the Bible. You'd rush to the Walden books to get it.
Heck yeah.
And so he's just like, here's
So
a
he
story.
didn't stream it live on X.
We wasn't streaming. No, he didn't have 17 hats. He didn't have 17 hats lined up on a table about what one he was going to put on. And he said, but pretty much, for all intents and purposes, he was headed to Penn State. I mean, that was really where everybody thought it was Penn State. It was Stanford. John Elway used to call him every day. So you got to go play for my dad at Stanford. And it was Penn State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Miami. And those were the schools that were all we thought it was coming down to. And we're walking home from practice, and he's like, hey, Joe, I got to talk to you. Just as we're crossing this footbridge that used to lead to our neighborhood, and I said, what's up, man? I said, listen, if you're trying to be confidential about women or girls, like, I don't want to hear it. You're a 6'7" stud quarterback going any college you want. I'm a lineman. I'm a grotesque. What? Like, I outkicked my coverage in the girlfriend department. I don't want to hear about this whole girl problem. He goes, no, Joe, stop it. It's not about girls. He said, I want to talk to you about the fact that I don't really want to play football in college. I was like, okay. I was a little taken aback at that point because, a kid growing up in Pennsylvania, like, your dream is to go play at Penn State. Like, it's by hook or by crook, you're trying to get there. And I said, well, okay, tell me about that. And he's like, my heart's not in it. I love basketball. And I said, don't get caught up in the fact that we're in playoffs right now and we're in states. Like, let's take a cool the jets here. Like, he said, no, I've thought about this. I said, well, then, Matt, go with your heart. And that's when he, it was out of like Hoosiers. Like, we have this press conference and we all skip class. We all go see in the auditorium during like free period or whatever. And it's like all the local TV, radio folks, personalities there, ESPN's there, cameras. Guys, I played when there was like no leather helmets, right? So it's like these flash balls, poof, 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 poof. So he's like, I've just made the decision. I'm not going to play football in college, and I'm going to play basketball. And it's like, poof, 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 like cameras are, and then all the microphones are jutting at him, and literally it was like it was crazy for a high school kid to go through that, and that's when he decided to go to Virginia, and I brag on him all the time. I number one, he goes and becomes a 6 man. He ends up starting. He goes to the Elite Eight. I mean, they schooled Stacey King in the Sweet 16 who played Oklahoma, and he was a defensive specialist. And then he's out on the field throwing no interceptions. Like, what is going on with this guy? I think he's one of the only college athletes to ever play in a major bowl game. He played in the Citrus Bowl on his quarterback, and then to play in like the Elite Eight in one calendar year, like within a year. Like, it's crazy to think about somebody of that caliber. So, yeah, great story. And then he comes to Kansas City, and I'm snapping the ball to him, and it was just wild and crazy times.
So 2 points. I told you about this, but Jake, I don't know if you remember me mentioning this. I went to a celebrity basketball game at Kemper Arena, and Matt Blunden had this breakaway dunk, and everyone was going crazy, and he was like the rookie quarterback, and so at that point I declared him the next stud quarterback for the Chiefs. But that's fine. You know what? He showed he was tremendous athleticism, right?
Yeah.
And everyone was excited. But also, you mentioned no interceptions, and I remember Carl Peterson talking about that in the press conference after the draft. He had 19 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions in 224 attempts his senior year at Virginia. That's unbelievable. And then I'm looking at this article here about, this was back in 23 in the Delco Times. And
Delco, baby. Delco.
So
For all you
Delco,
Phillies fans out there.
what is Delco for people that don't know?
Delaware County, Pennsylvania.
Okay,
Watch
so-
Mayor of Easttown. You'll get a real flavor of what Delco is like.
I love Mayor of Easttown. What a great show.
That's Ridley is where we went to high school. That's the badge. The police officer, that's the badge. That's Ridley. That's where he was at the Ridley Raider reunion. That young police officer that was trying to date, Kate Winslet in the show. That's where Matt and I grew up. Ridley. That's where I'm from, man.
So it says the 3 former Delco high school football players that were Chiefs. You know who the other one is, Jake? Who was the highest drafted player out of that area? Bill Moss.
Bill Moss.
All Delco
Marple Newtown.
linemen,
Marple
right?
Newtown High School. My roommate, freshman year, preseason, I'm sitting in the hotel room. We're in Appleton, Wisconsin, and we're in the hotel room getting ready for the preseason game. Billy Bob was not playing, and so I'm, rookies, you know how it is. They all play. Everybody was hurt, too. Alty was holding out. John Alt was holding out. Derek Graham was hurt. So you got to play like the whole game as a rookie, right? And I'm trying to get my sleep, and Bill pulls the cable out of the back of the television in the hotel room, and he turns it up volume all the way up, and it's nothing but static.
Right.
As loud as you could possibly think a TV could go. He goes, "All right, good night, Rook." I was like, "Bill, what are you doing?" He goes, "I can't sleep unless there's like background noise." I said, "Bill, I can't sleep with that. Like, I'm putting pillows over my head." So at one point I had like 2 pillows over my head, flipping and flopping. I was contemplating going down to the lobby and sleeping on the lobby couch at that point. And he finally goes over and he pulls the pillows off of my head. He goes, "You dumb rookie." He goes, You didn't think a guy from Delco was going to play a little trick on a rookie coming out here for his first preseason game? So yeah, that was Bill was the best. He was a great mentor. My locker mate, right next to me for all those years.
You got to be excited about him going into the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
I love it.
That'll be great.
It's
You'll be there for that?
Got to be there for Billy Bob.
That's right.
Number 63.
We have Joe Valerio in studio. We'll talk football after this on Sports Radio 810 WHP.
What's up, Kansas City? Jake Gutierrez here. The rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets. Saturdays just got way more fun. College football is back, baby. You heard Lance Leipold, Coach Kansas, on earlier. It's college football season. And do you think you know the game? Well, put your knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn your picks into big payouts. With live betting, rivalry week odds boosts, and more, DraftKings Sportsbook has everything you need to own every Saturday. You look at the lines. You got Thursday night football, even Boise State versus South Florida, -6.5. You got a game here in town in Kansas City on Saturday. Nebraska taking on Cincinnati. Nebraska -7 right now. Check out all the odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. And as you know, lines and odds are always subject to change. And right now, for new customers, DraftKings is going to hook you up. Bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly just by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app and using the code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB for new customers. You're going to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. It's that simple. Get after it. Saturdays are back. College football is back. DraftKings Sportsbook is back. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see